Hey, Bob Nolan here with Thought Provokers with a little bit of criticism, but lots of reality. Okay. Calm down and hear what I have to say because it may cause another disturbance in the force. You may not like it. Anyway, here we are with another controversy among believers. Predictions about Donald Trump's re-election. Some of the prophets, a lot of them, made clear statements that Trump would be elected to a second term. Maybe wrong. Maybe something will happen to vindicate their words. I can give it a little bit of time. Nevertheless, I hear some of these prophets saying, after being challenged, I only answer to God. Really? But if I say something to you or a friend, a prediction, a commitment, a promise, don't I owe you an answer if my words fail? Even if I say my words were from the Holy Spirit, maybe especially if I say my words were from the Holy Spirit. I've prophesied quite a few times. If my words fail, am I only answerable to God? Am I not answerable to the person or persons to whom I spoke? I've noticed that some of the prophets come across as if their critics are nothing but doubters and skeptics. I think there's some good, reasonable, decent, God-fearing people who are asking legitimate questions. But so some of the prophets don't like being challenged. So often they group all the questioners into an illegitimate bunch of doubting Thomases. So anyway, there's been a wave of prophetic voices saying that Trump will be re-elected to a second term. Now there's a great wave of criticism toward those same prophetic voices. It's the late great controversy, especially in what they call charismatic Christendom. By prophetic, do we mean words from the Spirit of God? I guess we'll see if these voices were prophetic or just voices. Maybe Trump still will be in that second term. As Trump himself would say, we'll see what happens. But now there are more voices, including those voices of those who prophesied, justifying their words. Why? If those words were indeed the words of the Spirit, then I have a humble recommendation. Just leave those words alone. Let them percolate. Let them come to pass or not. By trying to justify your words, it becomes all about you, not the words that you spoke, not what you have declared as the word of the Lord. I personally, literally heard many of those words on different social media platforms. I didn't hear any of them say there will be complications, or it may not happen in the upcoming election, or the election will be stolen but regained at some point. Now that would have been an interesting prophecy. Is it okay to look for verification of prophecies? Is it okay to look for verifications of healings or other declared miracles? Yes, it's okay. That doesn't necessarily mean skepticism, but just interest in verification. Do we have to have immediate fulfillments? Not necessarily. Some words of the Spirit do take time. But many of those voices about Trump's re-election did imply an immediate fulfillment. I've prophesied many times. Occasionally, some of those words have been predictive. I know what it's like to give a word that takes time for fulfillment. So I'm not critical of prophetic words and voices that say words that need time for fulfillment. Nevertheless, if you miss, you miss. If I missed on a word, then I missed. I have to bear responsibility for those words. If you miss, you miss. Why try to justify yourself? I'd love to hear one of these recent Trump will be elected voices say, maybe I missed. And then let time and the Spirit show that you did not miss. I heard one of the prophets say, I won't name names. Everybody wants to know how, and when. You say, we don't know the timetable. Well, what's the matter with how and when questions? Where were the prophetic voices saying there will be complications? You give a word. When it doesn't happen, at least not immediately, maybe it's time to just be quiet for a while. Your defensiveness is not helpful. You give the impression that any critic or criticism, it comes out of angry, unreasonable, disappointed people. And, there's many people like that. They're just mad. There are also people, I hope like myself, that are not unreasonable criticizers, but with legitimate questions. Is a critic or questioner immediately disqualified because they have questions? Pardon me, but your defense of yourself is an offense to myself. I have some understanding about words that require time for fulfillment, a time of tension, questioning, even criticism. Okay, here I go with a Bible example. Joseph told Pharaoh that there would be 7 years of plenty and then 7 years of famine. So it took 14 years for the prophecy to be verified. No doubt there was tension, but in the end, Joseph's words were vindicated. I see nothing in the story that Joseph tried to defend or vindicate his words. Apparently, he stayed quiet, but he was brought into Pharaoh's court because Pharaoh had a need. And Pharaoh was moved and accepting of Joseph's words. Joseph had learned to be quiet. Please, guys, stop trying to justify yourself and let your words be vindicated, or not, by God and by reality. You voiced your words to anyone and everyone. Why shouldn't anyone and everyone be able to talk back, to question, to criticize? Do you have anyone in your personal life, my dear prophet, that's willing or able to speak or question or correct you? And pardon me, but if your answer is that you only answer to God for your words, which I've heard some of these prophets say, I say, bullshit. Now, if God spoke to you and you kept it to yourself and prayer and meditation, fine. But you spoke those words publicly to people. People you've affected, people who listened, many of them susceptible to believing your words. When you open your mouth, is there no accountability to the persons to whom you spoke? I know of some leadership voices who have apologized for their Trump second term prophecies. Are they wrong for apologizing? They decided that they missed. Maybe you're not ready to say that. Okay, but if it winds up that you did miss, will you admit it? Maybe that's an irritating question, but I'm asking it. My name is Bob Nolan with Thought Provokers. Love to hear from you. And you be careful out there.